Night's falling in Chicago. It's game 2 of a 4-game series. The Tampa Bay Rays are in town out of the American League East to take on the Sox on their last homestand of the season. Thanks for joining us once again, Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, and it's always a celebration when Chris Sale's on the mound.
It's a good pitching matchup tonight. Alex Cobb and Chris Sale, both guys going to be top of the rotation starters next year. You take a look at Alex Cobb, 2014 season, he was terrific. 2.87 ERA. As you can see, strikeout to walk ratio outstanding, but then he had Tommy John surgery. Chris Sale at home has been pretty good this year. You see the strikeout to walk ratio, 17 and 103. And Chris Sale, unfortunately, since starting 14-2, has been 2-7 his last 9 decisions.
Sox have had some injury troubles offensively. Brett Lawrie, Tyler Saladino have been hurt, so opportunity has rapped on the door of Carlos Sanchez.
A lot of guys are getting a chance to play that wouldn't normally get that, and injuries always benefit somebody. And in this case, Carlos Sanchez is getting a whole lot more play than he thought he was going to get in the last 3 games, 6 for 10. A couple of doubles, a home run and 5 driven in. He has 3 home runs now, and he at least is showing that he can be a very versatile and maybe an essential player going on to next year. That's really what you're looking for when both teams are out of it. Just show the brass that you can do things.
He's got an amazing skill to stop time as well in midair on those double plays. Chris Sale coming to the mound. The K-Zone is active tonight. One of the final starts of the year for Sale. Rays and Sox on the way.
Brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
Sox trying to win 4 in a row. It would come with a second straight victory against the Tampa Bay Rays over from Tropicana Field. On the road, final homestand of the year for the Sox started with a 7-1 win yesterday. James Shields got the victory. Drew Smyly took the loss. And here we are with the Sox needing 6 in a row to hit 500. Chris Sale is the man on the mound today for the Sox. Since 2012, 5 straight All-Star seasons for Sale. He has been, according to wins above replacement, the 4th best pitcher over that 5-year span in Major League Baseball, with only Kershaw, Scherzer, and Price above him. Always fun to watch, Chris Sale.
And quite possibly this could be his last start this year, although if he wants, they would probably give him the Sunday start, but that remains to be seen. First things first, he's got to take care of the Tampas.
Sale out to the mound. Left-hander who makes start number 31 of his season. What an amazing start to the year for Sale, including that complete game shutout of the Rays back in April, a 1-0 complete game shutout. And here's the starting lineup for the second-year manager Kevin Cash of the Tampa Bay Rays. The Kia starting lineup starts with Logan Forsythe DHing today after playing second yesterday. Longoria in the 3 spot, 1 for 18 career against Sale. Curt Casali had the only RBI last night. And Yuniel Karakuto in his 5th Major League at bat.
Let's take a look at Honda City defense and how Robin is going to line them up behind Chris Sale. Melky Cabrera in left field. Yuri Garcia once again in center, with Adam Eaton back in the lineup in right field. And it's Todd Frazier, Tim Anderson, Carlos Sanchez, and Jose Abreu rounding out the infield. Alex Avila gets a nod behind the plate, and our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Chris Sale, looking for his 17th win. That would tie a career high. His ERA, 3.19. As you can see, more strikeouts than innings pitched, and left-handers have done very little with him. The umpires, Mike Esterbrook behind the plate. The crew chief, Ben May, is at first base. Then Ed Hickox at second, and Greg Gibson is at third. So on a beautiful but a little chilly night for baseball. They've thrown the ball around the infield, meaning that Chris Sale is ready to go, as is Logan Forsythe. And with that, Jason, you're up.
Thank you, Steve. I hate to miss my turn in the batting order. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Glad to have you along this Tuesday night. 6 games remaining in the 2016 season for the Sox, and an interesting matchup tonight, considering the Rays' strong suit offensively has been the home run, with 213 of them this year, in the top third of the American League. And Chris Sale at points this season has given up the long ball. He's allowed 24 of them so far in 2016. As he throws strike 1 at 7-11 to Logan Forsythe. Fouled away by Forsythe, who was 0 for 4 yesterday with a walk and a strikeout. Tampa Bay pounded out 9 hits, including the Casali RBI single, but also bounced into 4 double plays for the first time since early last year.
Yuri Garcia is shading over to right center field. There's a big gap in left center for Forsythe, who's one of their better players. We pan around, show you the defense.
That's strike 3 on the inside corner. Forsythe didn't like it, but that was a whale of a pitch on 1 and 2.
We sent him up with a slider outside and then went back in with the fastball. Well framed by Alex Avila. And although Forsythe thought it was inside, Mike Esterbrook has a deciding vote, and it's 1 up, 1 strikeout.
23 strikeouts for the Rays a couple of days ago. And Chris Sale with the most 10-plus strikeout games the last 5 years. 12-plus strikeout games last 5 years for Sale. Most in Major League Baseball. And this matchup maybe not bode well for the free swinging Rays.
Well, especially with 2 of the first 4 left-handed in Dickerson and Miller. And he got 2 very young players, 8 and 9 in the batting order, so it should be a pretty good night for Chris Sale.
That's a shattered bat. Shortstop Anderson waits for it to come down, and Tim throws out Dickerson 2 away early in this first inning.
The ball was way inside, and Dickerson decided to swing. No chance on that one. That ball is a good 4 inches inside off the plate, and he couldn't do much with it.
Tim's fortunate he didn't get even odder spin on that ball. 2 down for Longoria, and to that point about the 12-plus strikeout games for Sale since 2012, he has 20 of them. Clayton Kershaw's in second place with 13. Ball 1 to Longoria, who walked his first 2 times last night.
The advantage any National League pitcher would have is they get to face the opposing pitcher. Chris Sale has to face the designated hitter. Outfield straightaway, very deep, as is the infield on the left side.
Popped it up, foul. 2-1 on Longoria. And 1 for 18 against Sale career, comes along with 8 strikeouts and 1 walk.
He's been a very good player for a long time. This one of his better years. 36 and 95 on the power numbers.
Ninth season with Tampa for Evan Longoria, and really his rise in the Rays organization coincided with their growth as an organization. They were a 90-loss team their first 10 years. As he pops this ball into right field, Adam Eaton makes the call, has the ball, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Sale. The Sox will take aim against Alex Cobb off Tommy John surgery after this. Saw the Sox score in 5 separate innings last night. Eaton's back in after colliding with the wall in Cleveland. Jose Abreu's hunt for 300 continues. So does Frazier's search for 40 home runs. Avila Sanchez Garcia, final 3 tonight.
On the City defense and how they're going to line up. Behind Alex Cobb, Dickerson, Matuk, and Schaefer in the outfield with Longoria, Ramirez, Kira Cueto, and Miller in the infield. Rick Casale behind the plate. And our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Alex Cobb. We will show you his numbers in a bit.
But first, this pitch to Adam Eaton down the left field line. Dickerson toward foul territory, and it bounces fair for Eaton, ringing into the corner with a leadoff double. Welcome back, Adam.
This ball's right down the line, and Dickerson wasn't playing all that deep. Adam Eaton's got some surprising power. He's hit 14 home runs. So he picks on the first pitch, slicing it away from Dickerson. As it rattles around, Adam coasts into second base.
I'll tell you of one person that the power doesn't surprise, that's Adam Eaton. He's of the belief that he could put up even more home runs than he has the last couple years. As Anderson now bats with the corner infielders in. Takes a strike from Cobb. Tell us about him.
He's in his 5th start since coming back from Tommy John surgery. 1-1, the ERA is up there, but he usually has very good stuff. And next year we're going to see the guy we saw 2 years ago when he was not unhittable, but pretty close to it.
All right, so off of Tommy John surgery, what isn't right that first season back?
Anything you spin, because that's essential, using your elbow. The velocity, it shouldn't be affected at all because velocity comes from the shoulder. Late movement on the fastball because that comes from the elbow and wrist. And one of his best pitches is a split change, and when he's right, that's really tough to deal with. But because of Tommy John surgery, it's not going to be yet what it will be when we take a look at him next year, because he is a top of the rotation starter.
Rookie season 5 years ago for the Rays. He was injured in spring training last year, Cobb. That ball is laced into right field by Anderson, and the Sox are going to get on the board first. Adam Eaton chugging for home, and it's 1-0.
RBI number 26 for Tim Anderson. And he picks on a fastball. Cobb's fastball isn't really a sinker, so he's going to give up some line drives and fly balls. And he's been touched up early in this one. 2 hitters, 1 run, 2 hits. And the heart of the order coming up.
And a low 5 from Daryl Boston to Tim Anderson. Tim's at first, still nobody out, and Melky, as the Sox led essentially last night, wire to wire. The Rays tied the game at 1 in the 4th. Sox had their first run in the first inning, and then the Sox scored again in the home 4th and kept the lead all the way into today. The ball gets away, and Anderson will stay at first. Might have jammed his hand going back to the bag.
I think the ball might have hit him.
Let's see.
Let's take a look again. Yes.
It did, yep.
Got him above the belt, right around the kidney area. That can't feel too good. Judging by those facial expressions, it doesn't feel too good at all.
Yikes. You're wide open there.
Yeah, I mean, you get hit above the belt, especially in the back area, and it's going to cause you a whole lot of pain.
Let's take a listen.
Yeah, we're going to go sound up on this.
Ooh. Thunk.
Yeah, that got him cleanly. And you got a first baseman who was a recently converted first baseman, a guy that was a middle infielder with Seattle. So normally, a play that most first basemen would make, Hermie now giving him something to clear away the cobwebs.
Tim Anderson hit by the ball on the throw to first. Young shortstop who's had a magnificent start to his major league career in a lot of ways. And Tim says he's all right. He's going to stay in. 30 extra base hits in his rookie season for Tim Anderson. And he remains at first with Melky Cabrera at the plate. Still nobody out, first inning, and the Sox already up a run. Two and 0 from Cobb to Cabrera, one of the few Sox players to have seen Alex Cobb. He's 3 out of 12 against the Rays right-hander. Golf shot left side and foul. 2-1.
Cobb originally selected in the 4th round of 2006. Made his way up through the system. Been a starting pitcher almost exclusively. And in the big year, which was 2014, he was 10-9, but the ERA at 2.87 and 27 starts. Pretty good numbers.
Throw on Anderson, much more on target this time. And Cobb gets a rain of boos. Two and 1 for Melky. That ball's drilled to right field. Schaefer has no play. It's gone. First 3 hit, first 3 score.
Melky ties Adam Eaton. 14 home runs. He's driven in 82. And the Sox a triple shy of the cycle with just 3 hitters having hit. Ford home run replay. This is another fastball, and Cobb is not fooling anybody tonight. Melky drills it.
Another generous donation from the Alex Snellius family in loving memory of Ursula with that home run. As there is strike 1 on Abreu. A strong start tonight for the Sox. Breaking ball bounced left of second. And Karakuto creates out number 1 of the night for the Sox. Time for picks to click tonight. And looky here, looky here.
Am I happy I got my pick after Melky hit?
Yeah. Melky Cabrera goes to Steve. Could have a 3-way tie in first place. You, the fans, you got some time. WhiteSox.com/pick to click. Try and make it a comeback late in the season. The race for the picks to click title coming down to the wire.
It's been hotly contested.
I think that's just the space heater here in the booth that you're feeling.
That also has been hotly contested.
Ball and a strike on Morneau, who homered last night. Part of that 7-1 Sox win. It's a high leg kick for Cobb.
It's still going to take him some time, because long after the physical aspect of an injury dissipates, the psychological aspect of any injury will linger for a while. You got to convince yourself that when you do throw it, especially when you throw your good breaking ball, in his case a good curveball, your arm's not going to fall off, and that takes a while. It takes a few starts, and he'll probably work it out in spring training of next year, but they anticipate that he's going to come back and be pretty much like he was in 2014.
8 rehab starts this year. A-ball, AAA, 6.65 ERA. And his last start against the Yankees gave up 7 earned on 9 hits in an inning and a third. Ball 4, 1-out walk, and that is to say that those 7 runs were more than he gave up in his first 3 starts back combined. So he's pretty good the first 3 starts. He got roughed up by the Yankees on the 21st. good news for the Rays is, with the 40-man roster expansion, there are 12 men in the bullpen.
We saw how effectively Terry Francona used his 13. Kevin Cash doesn't want to use most of his 12, but he might have no choice.
Cobb has Frazier with Morneau at first. Just one out still in the first inning as Frazier launches to right center field. Matuk is over, and Mikey Matuk makes the play for round number 2. So Frazier stays on 39 home runs for the time being. And Alex Avila will bat after getting the night off last night in favor of Omar Narvaez. The .355 on base percentage comes with 33 walks. Very patient offensive player, Alex Avila. Looks as though the left side of the infield has been quarantined. There are 3 Rays to the right of second. And all the green in the world on the third base side.
And the outfield shifts him as an off-field hitter, because if he does hit the ball on the ground, it normally is hit hard to the right side. Good power the opposite way.
Bonus strike on Alex. We didn't have a hit in 5 at-bats that first series against Tampa back in April. Rays won 2 of 3 before the Sox came home. Eaton a double, Anderson a single, Melky a 2-run homer, and a 3-0 lead on the board in the first inning tonight. Three and 1 to Avila. Alex Cobb for the year had thrown about 46% fastballs. He's thrown more changeups than basically anybody else in Major League Baseball in the time that he's been in the majors.
But these days doesn't have quite the confidence in it because it's that split change, and that is going to be affected by anything that goes wrong with your elbow.
To first, and Miller to retire the side. Sox get 3 hits, 3 runs, strand 1. Melky Cabrera goes deep for the 14th time, and the Sox have a 3-0 edge. all season long on CSNChicago.com. Presented by The Great Escape. Pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, and more. Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. We look forward to seeing Dan Hayes at some point this homestand.
Somewhere along the
to come
line.
to work one of these days.
He will ferret out some news and be right here.
He is a news ferret, isn't he? Dan Hayes, professional news ferret.
He can dig deep. Yep.
It's Brad Miller to lead off, then Mikey Matuk and Curt Casali. Miller, 30 homers, 6 triples, 29 doubles this year. A strong slugging season for Miller. Strike one. 1-2-3 inning for Sale in the first. Strikeout, ground out, fly out. To third, Frazier snaps it up. And Todd throws out Miller. Not an easy play to make, and Frazier did it well.
As you can see, there's a radical shift, and he has to go to his backhand. You're just pretty much hoping that you can come up as that hop takes the ball up. The only way to do that is to keep your glove down, which he did. Good crossover step, and then it was easy after that.
So one down for Mikey Matuk, who was 2 for 4 last night. Of his 11 career home runs, 1 has come off of Chris Sale. That was back on August the 4th of last year in this ballpark. And in a true statistical and baseball circumstance oddity, Mikey Matuk has 3 of his 11 career home runs off Mark Burley.
Unusual. Probably not going to hit any more off him, but
It's not likely.
nope. Former first-round draft pick.
Out of LSU, a Cajun at heart.
31st choice overall in 2011.
Two balls and a strike from Sale. Now 2-2.
Well, last year he had a pretty good year. Only had 105 at bats, but he hit 295. He also hit 9 home runs in 105 at bats. That's pretty prolific.
Takes high on a fastball, 3-2. The first 6 of those home runs of the 9 last year came on the road. He didn't hit a home run until September the 29th.
Not an easy ballpark to hit home runs. And they are going to get a new stadium. The only question is, where is it going to be? Going to be in that area, but to be determined. Big gap in right center field as Leury Garcia a couple steps into left center.
Three-2. That is through. Base hit for Matuk. First base runner tonight for Tampa Bay. To your point about the stadium, it's kind of a catch-22 in Florida, right? I mean, you have great weather. For the most part, people want to be outdoors in Florida, unless it's oppressively hot, which it is sometimes.
Yes.
But you got to have a dome.
And oppressively raining.
You got to have a dome because it's going to rain.
The best of both worlds, and you never know if they're going to want to spend that kind of money with, well, probably not the state, probably the county. Is a retractable dome like Seattle has.
Like Miami has
Yep.
built.
Although I don't think, not sure they're going to appropriate the kind of funds to be able to do that. But they have promised him a new place to play.
I mean, the turnaround on stadiums nowadays, you've got, first of all, the Braves. I mean, that has not been terribly long, Turner Field, with the Olympics being back in the mid-90s. Braves are spinning to a new stadium. Rays have only been around since 1998.
But the facility is not real good.
(2-0) on Curt Casali. On the ground and fair ball down the line toward the corner. Melky gets there quickly to second, and Casali is safe at second base. Close play.
Turned out to be a very good slide as he threw his body away from Sanchez and hooked the bag with his arm. Melky makes it a whole lot closer than it looked like it was going to be as this one hits off the side wall. He comes up thrown. He's got no play at third base. He knows that. We'll watch it again. Reaches out to tag him.
You think he got him or no?
Well, they're going to take another look at it. From that angle, it's tough to tell. If he got him, it's going to be on the side of the helmet.
Casali says, no, he didn't get me.
Well,
jersey, no
look.
jersey.
Yeah, the ball beats him.
Is there a rumple of the jersey?
I mean, it's from that angle, it's really hard to tell. You'd have to have an angle from him back or from the side, and we didn't, but they're going to play on.
To bring up Alexei Ramirez. In his return to this ballpark yesterday, he was 0 for 4.
He got another nice round of applause from the crowd.
And rightfully so, with his tenure here, over 1,200 career games in a Sox jersey. Mott took at third, Casali at second. Big spot against his former teammate for Ramirez, and he comes through. Down the right field side, Casali waved around. Eaton's throw to first, and safe on Ramirez. 2 home. For the Rays, it's 3-2.
RBIs 45 and 46 as Ramirez just reaches out, dumps it into right field. He rounds the bag. Adam Eaton thinks he's got a chance at first. He doesn't believe he has a shot at Casali, but he does believe he might be able to cut down Alexei, and he doesn't.
A 2-run single for Ramirez. And a first pitch strike to Richie Schaefer, the right fielder tonight for Tampa Bay. 25-year-old. 36 at bats this year for the Rays.
It's a most unusual swing plane because he opens up very early with his left foot. Most right-hand hitters, if they open up that early, they're very susceptible to anything away. And it's an open stance to start with.
Ball 1, 1-2. On the ground and through. Base hit for Schaefer. 21st career hit for Richie Schaefer. Puts 2 on with 1 out. 4 straight hits against Sale.
This is a breaking ball. It's down and out of the zone, and even if you do open up, you're going to have a better swing at a breaking ball than you will on a fastball away. Drives this one through the left side, so it's 4 straight hits against Chris.
Double play still in order. And here is Yuniel Karakuto, 24-year-old Venezuelan. First and second, 1 out. And no chance at that off-speed pitch. 0-1.
I think that might have been off Alex Avila, one of the reasons why Mike Esterbrook has walked out. But not if Alex is okay.
Ramirez at second, Schaefer at first. Up and out from Sale, ball and a strike on Karakuto, who was a .255 career hitter in the minors, dating back to his first true minor league season in 2011. Strike called, inside corner, 1-2. Tipped foul. Karakuto stays alive.
He was actually home from his minor league season, and the Rays didn't want to call up their former #1 draft pick, Tim Beckham, first player picked in the country in the same draft where Gordon Beckham went to the Sox. Buster Posey at #5 went to San Francisco, and the Rays picked Tim Beckham.
Who has had a rough go of it so far in his pro career.
Yes, he has that.
Saw him a little bit in AAA. I mean, he's got a lot of talent. Hasn't put the ball in play nearly enough.
Now, the skills are good. I'd like a little better attitude from the young man. It's one of the reasons why he wasn't called back.
2-2 from Sale. Karakuto pops it up. Sanchez in front of Garcia for out number 2. So Sale, who shut out the Rays back on April the 15th, touched up for a couple runs in this game so far, but still holding a 3-2 lead.
It's just about as good a game as you'll ever want to see pitched.
2 hits. They were both singles, one from Desmond Jennings, one from former Ray Steve Pearce. Strike called for Forsythe. Took the Sox scoring in the 9th to win that game for Sale. It was a 2-out RBI single for Melky Cabrera.
And the Rays have since decided to part ways with Desmond Jennings.
Another highly talented player that never really panned out for Tampa Bay over the long haul.
Yeah, he had very good skills. But putting them all together and doing it consistently is what makes a major league player a major league player.
2 strikes on Forsythe. A breaking ball fouled away. He was one of those guys in AAA, Desmond Jennings, that you look and you say, okay, somebody needs to find a place for him in the majors just to work it out. I mean, just see if he can do it, because the AAA thing, there's no reason to have him there. He's hitting 300 and he's going to steal bases, and he's essentially a AAA ringer.
And play a pretty consistent outfield.
2 strikes, runners go, breaking ball hammered, foul down the left field line.
That one just missed. Chris gets this one over the inside corner. It's a high slider. They usually get hit hard, and you take a look at it, as Greg Gibson did. Turned out to be an easy call.
Two strikes. He got him swinging at 95. Couple of sliders, set up the fastball, and the inning's over. Rays get 2. Sox keep the lead. It's 3-2.
right here at U.S. Cellular Field, beginning with the first pitch at 7 on CSN.
Jose Quintana's final start of the season coming up Thursday.
Will be a very good, solid year for him. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller time later in the game. Brought to you by Miller Lite.
On Jose Quintana, 2 other pitchers since 2013 have had at least 30 starts and 200 innings pitched. Madison Bumgarner and Max Scherzer, both National League pitchers, at least currently. Scherzer's been with the Tigers. But the remarkable consistency of Jose Quintana is the standout focus there. As Sanchez faces Cobb for strike 1.
There's a big premium to be had for guys who just consistently take the baseball. The durability is there. These days, pitchers shoot for 200 innings. If they can get there, they consider it a job well done, and Jose does it a lot.
I mean, it's a bonus that not only does he eat up innings, but he gets people out while he's doing it. Strike 3, first strikeout for Cobb, 1 away. You see even on the free agent market, a guy like Giovanni Gallardo, who ostensibly you signed to be an innings eater, right?
He's going to be, at this point, now he was at one point a #1 starter, but Gallardo now is going to be a back end of the rotation starter.
Right, and when you sign him, you say, okay, we're going to have to deal with some starts that won't keep us in the game, but at least he'll get us to the finish line. Quintana gives you both.
Well, that's why it prompted a number of guys, not only John Farrell of the Boston Red Sox, who manages that very good team, but he said he's by far the most underrated pitcher in all of baseball. Because of the win-loss record on a yearly basis, you just don't hear a whole lot about him outside of the city of Chicago, where people certainly appreciate him, but I know the people in the game appreciate him.
Leury Garcia punches this ball to center and it gets by. Mikey Matuk's got a long road to hoe. Leury Garcia lost his hat on the way around second. He's stopping at third.
And you would think this is going to be a 3-base hit. As Matuk comes on, he stops, he starts, he stops, and realizes he can't get to it. And then he couldn't smother the ball. Sinking line drive. Matuk did not play it particularly well, but once he committed, there was nothing that he could do. So now the infield has to play in at all 4 positions.
First triple since his first season in Major League Baseball. It was his 3rd game in Major League Baseball. It was in Seattle. And Garcia 90 feet away from a 4-2 game. And there it is. Adam Eaton serves it into center, and the Sox lead by 2.
RBI number 59. And whether or not it's a drawn-in infield, when you hang a curveball, you better be ready to field it. And this to the glove side goes right under the glove of Cobb. He's thinking right now he should have been able to, at the very least, knock it down. He wasn't able to, and Adam with his 2nd hit.
Tim Anderson with 1 out and a runner on. It's a called strike.
This was the first run of the ball game. Base hit. Adam Eaton scores, and with that first White Sox run, eClick Lending has donated $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
And considering where that ball went, the Rays have collapsed on that right center field gap with Matuk and Schaefer. Ball and a strike on Anderson. And you look at the season for Tim Anderson, just observationally, there's really been no point where he has, in terms of demeanor, seemed like a rookie. As Eaton's off, that's a strike. Throw is high. Adam Eaton steals bag number 13. That's not to say there haven't been rookie errors by Tim Anderson at points this season, but in terms of demeanor, he's looked the part.
He gets a running start, and then it's up to Casale. The throw is high. Adam in easily. No, I don't think he's appeared to be overmatched in really any aspect of the game. So you'll look at the numbers when the season's over and realize he really improved himself defensively, even from the time he came up to what he's at now. And offensively, I mean, he gets his hits. He doesn't appear overmatched at all. He's still going to swing at pitches out of the zone. All hitters do, especially young hitters. But if we see the same growth from this year to next that we saw from spring training till now, he's going to be in good shape.
That's a rocket to the right field corner. Kicking around on Schaefer, and Anderson is into second. That scores Eaton. It's 5-2. Ball just hops off his bat.
Yeah, he's very strong, has a very lively bat, and he drives in his 27th run. Taking this one with plenty of room to spare inside that line as it rattles around. He coasts into second. A single, double, and triple this inning after a double, single, and a home run in the first inning. Alex Cobb getting tattooed.
Six total hits, a walk, and a strikeout. And here is Melky, who dinged him for a two-run homer. A long way to right field in that first inning. Casale wants to go through the signs again.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action replay, and it came off the bat of Melky. A fastball, 14th home run of the year, and he took it way back at the time, making it 3-0. Sox still have their 3-run lead after a pair here in the second.
Golf shot left field. Dickerson has to jump. A rather adventuresome outfield in the second inning for the Rays.
Yeah, all things considered, this is not one of their better defenses left to right in the outfield. Dickerson, I'm sure, is used to the ball carrying, sometimes surprisingly so, because he started his career with the Colorado Rockies.
He's also used to covering a lot of ground with those vast clover fields they have at Coors.
That's a huge center field.
The misnomer is, and we've talked about this a little bit before, yes, the ball carries. Yes, that affects pitchers, but those gaps are really a significant piece of damage to pitchers' ERAs as well. Abreu pops it up, and Miller collects out number 3. Sox get 3 straight hits with 1 out this time. It's a 5-2 lead after 2 as Sale goes back to the hill.
Cellular Field, where the White Sox have the lead over the Rays 5-2 in the top of the third. Alexi Ramirez made his first appearance not in a White Sox uniform at U.S. Cellular Field yesterday. I got the chance to catch up with him today, and I asked him, I was like, so what's it feel like being back? He said he's super happy. It was great catching up with all of his former teammates, former trainers, former coaches. I asked him how much he misses it here in Chicago. He says, when the weather's like this, yes, but when it's cold, absolutely not. We talked about his favorite moment here at U.S. Cellular Field. You would have thought it would have been during his rookie campaign in 2008 when he hit the grand slam that forced a tiebreaker in game 162. He actually said that it was the following game with the Twins and watching Jim Thome hit the home run that ended up winning the game 1-0. Steve, Jason, I'll send it back up to you in the booth.
Thank you, Sierra. And he was a very good player for the Sox for a long time. That first year, what, he hit 4 grand slams his first year, something along those lines.
And he has that kind of magnetizing energy, right, that people latch on to.
Early in his career, he had one of the strongest arms in baseball. And that really helped him a lot.
Broken bat flare right field. And losing a wing in the air. Dickerson's baseball finds green grass.
He broke a bat the first time, looping one at Tim Anderson, who caught it on a hop. Breaks his bat this time, only it turns into a base hit.
One on, nobody out for Longoria. It's fouled away. You never know with this here game that we play what you're going to see on a night-to-night basis. And after the Rays last night, yeah, they had 9 hits, but there weren't too many large-scale rallies. Tampa has responded well against Chris Sale with 2 runs on 4 straight hits in the second and a leadoff base hit here in the third.
Well, they had a couple of shots at James Shields. Only to see James make some big pitches, a couple of double plays, and get out of those jams. He went 6 innings, he had a run on 7 hits. So against his former team, the team that brought him to the major leagues, he threw it well.
Mid-conversation on the off day.
Pretty good feeling that day after you pitch a good game.
Floated to right field. Adam Eaton. And there's out number 1 in the third inning. Join us as the White Sox face the Tampa Bay Rays Thursday, September 29th. Hey, that's this Thursday at 7:10 p.m. First 10,000 fans to enter U.S. Cellular Field. Get a White Sox performance T-shirt. For tickets, visit whitesox.com/Thursdays.
We saw those T-shirts yesterday. Good-looking shirt.
What's your favorite shirt of the season?
I think one of the many Melky shirts. There's been a few. They all looked pretty nice.
The Milkman one that was given away on a Thursday, right? You're talking about that one?
Yeah, it was a good-looking shirt.
We've been told, rumor has it, that there's a Cowboy Melky shirt that the social media department is hoarding.
Hoarding would be a good term. Yeah.
We need to get one of those.
Oh, maybe
Hint,
March.
hint.
Maybe March.
You want me to march right down there and get one?
Get 2.
There's a Milkman T-shirt. Long sleeves under the Milkman T-shirt. That's smart planning.
It is, because it was 66 at game time, and it will be substantially lower when this one is done.
Grounded to third. Frazier off the bare hand and a smooth play for Todd. Dickerson to second base, 2 away in the third.
This is just an outstanding play, and because Third base is vacated, and Alex Avila probably couldn't get down there in time. Tim Anderson hustled to third base to make sure that Dickerson doesn't get too adventuresome.
2-out runner at second for Mikey Matuk, who singled and scored in the second inning for Tampa Bay. Started that 4 straight hit run in the inning for the Rays. Mikey Matuk's alma mater, LSU, just had some upheaval in the old athletics department. Les Miles
was given the boot
after averaging 10 wins a season for 11 years. Thanks for playing. Ball and a strike on Matuk. Can you imagine? Major League Manager wins, I don't know, what's the equivalent? 95 games, 11 years in a row. Starts out 10-10 the next year. We want a new guy.
Tough business.
Strike called. 1-2 on a favorable strike zone tonight for the pitchers.
As it should be.
Are you a pitcher lobbyist now?
Yeah. Now you want to see the guy swing the bat.
Left center field. Garcia to retire the side. Leadoff single goes by the boards. 5-2 Sox after 2.5.
And an official White Sox MasterCard debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC.
Let's show you what you can win on the prize shelf tonight. You got a truck, you got socks, Jedi Southpaw, lightsaber sold separately. The Gene Honda baseball, Jermaine Dye, the gnome you can't have, and the Jason Benetti Memorial Prize section with the trip to Ireland from a month ago, and my James Hart Jr. High School hat.
That's been a big seller.
Alex Cobb to Justin Morneau. First pitch, bottom 3, and it's fouled away. There's also a Los White Sox t-shirt on the prize shelf today. Oh, and 2 on Morneau, who's top 30 players active at the start of the season in games played for a career. 1,541 of them for Justin.
He's given every indication that he will come back and play next year. Being a free agent, you never know where that's going to be. He's shown at times he's still swinging the bat pretty well.
I mean, the Pete Rose 3,562 games played career. Nobody's ever going to get there. That's the record. Career games played. Yaz is 2 at 3,308.
I would say the way baseball is played now, probably not.
So on that list, guys of recent vintage, Eddie Murray is tied for 6th at 3,026. Cal Ripken 3,001. Barry Bonds 2,986 games played. Bonds 10th place, ahead of Dave Winfield. On the ground, one away. 6-3 on the ground ball to bring up Frazier.
One thing I can't understand, and we see it a lot because we're seeing a lot of shifts now. And you see most teams, not all, but most teams will take their shortstop and put him on the first base side of second, leaving the third baseman, who doesn't have near as much range as any shortstop in the league, to cover all the ground on the left side. That never made a great deal of sense to me. You leave your shortstop at the position that he plays, shortstop, move your third baseman over into that spot at second base, and now you got a guy who his whole career has been paid to show you the kind of range he's going to have to exhibit as the lone man on the left side of the infield. We just don't see it all that often.
So how about in this situation then? Frazier has 3 to the left side of the infield. You got the first baseman alone at first. You okay with keeping the first baseman there? Or if you've got a third baseman who's able to play first, do you let him play the first base side?
No, this would be fine.
Even though your shortstop or third baseman are likely rangier. Say you have a shortstop who could play first base. Do you put him over there for a situation like this?
You could do that. I don't think they'd want to move him off shortstop, but you could certainly do it.
But the point being, he's going to be your rangiest player, right?
So maybe
maybe you just put him wherever there's the greatest amount of space to be covered.
But very rarely will your first baseman be able to play a whole lot of other positions, and that is a called third. Dodd didn't like it.
Second strikeout for Cobb tonight. And we remind you to join us for Rock and Roll Night and fireworks presented by Guaranteed Rates, Saturday, October 1st, as the White Sox host the Twins, 6:10 p.m. First 5,000 fans to enter U.S. Cellular Field will receive a Rock and Roll Night cap, compliments of Guaranteed Rate. For tickets, visit whitesox.com. We had the fine folks from Guaranteed Rate up in the booth a couple homestands ago.
We did, and they're ecstatic to be partners with the White Sox for at least 13 years.
Ty Pennington was here with all of his energy and all of his skill and wit that he's shown you for many years on television. Victor Chardelli was here as well. 1-0 on Alex Avila. They were bouncing all over this booth that day.
They were all over the stadium.
Yeah, it was a big day for them. They were excited to be here, excited to be part of the Sox when that name change does happen. 2-0 on Alex Avila with the shift on once again. Two balls and a strike. You know, it's 16 years too late, but the Y2K glitch got our pitch tracks for the moment.
It'll be back, though. They're telling us that it's going to be back. We've got some of our best people on it.
We've got the LEM up and running. 2-2 on Avila. Alex Cobb in search of his first 1-2-3 inning of the night. 3-2 from Cobb, who's had some injury trouble in the past. His Tommy John surgery wasn't really the only thing that he's dealt with previously. An oblique strain in 2014, thoracic outlet syndrome in 2011, that nerve syndrome that runs from your neck down to your underarm area. Foul ball from Avila.
We're actually seeing more and more of that.
It's Chris Kamka. Great to see Chris here. It's not actually.
We're not seeing more and more of that.
Chris Kamka.
But he's ready. He's got his Black Hawk sweater on, ready to go.
Preseason getting underway tomorrow night. Hawks and Pens. No 1-2-3 inning this time for Cobb. It's ball 4 and a 2-out walk for Alex Avila. So here's Sanchez, who's walking up to the Macarena.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice thing to walk up to.
Is it?
Oh, sure.
Los Del Rio returns in 2016. Hopefully that wasn't just because I mentioned Y2K.
I don't think so.
Strike one to the outside corner.
The Mets are going to be fortunate if they have enough pitchers like the Cleveland Indians going into the playoffs, because they've lost another one.
Steven Matz.
And that's Steven Matz, he's had bone spur problems. Now he's going to have surgery for it.
Sanchez, a rip to right field. And a visit to the wall for Carlos Sanchez. Stop sign for Avila at third. Second and third, 2 out for the Sox.
We talked about Carlos in the opening, and the fact is that he's hit the ball real well. And he looks over at Alex Avila going, wait a second, I hit a double down the line. I'm trying to increase my runs batted into 20. And what, no scoring?
I like the guy who's going to play the ball through the fence.
It's always a good play. You're not going to get hurt like that.
Second and third, 2 out for Leury Garcia. Trying to build on an already standing 3-run lead in this third inning. Ball 1 from Cobb. You were saying about the Mets?
They're going to find it hard to put a pitching staff together for the playoffs, assuming that they do get there. And Cleveland, the same thing with Corey Kluber getting an MRI to check a groin injury that he suffered against the Tigers. They lose him, and just about every night will look like what it looked like in one game against our Sox, which was the bullpen night, where Terry Francona used 8 different pitchers in a 9-inning game.
We have a shoe malfunction. Cobb's ready now. Terry Francona would have pulled him.
At the first sign of difficulty.
It's up high, 3-0. Your shoe comes untied with 13 guys in the bullpen.
See you
Get
later.
out of here.
That night, in fact, Cleveland set an all-time record. They used 24 players, including those 8 pitchers. Never been done before.
There's a strike, 3-1 on Garcia, who tripled and scored in the second. You mentioned the Mets. They are tied atop the wild card standings in the National League with the Giants, a game ahead of St. Louis. The Marlins are 4 back and would need something dramatic to happen. Fly ball left center field. That's carrying, and it is up and out of here. Leury Garcia goes deep. It's a 3-run shot.
Well, he's got the two toughest parts of hitting for the cycle. He's got the triple, he's got the home run. That's his first home run. He now has 5 driven in. This ball just got up in the air and just kept on carrying. I think Matuk thought he might have had a shot at it, but Mikey goes back to the Wintrust sign, and it's gone.
Second home run in Leury Garcia's career. First one came at Dodger Stadium more than 2 years ago. And the Sox are pouring it on tonight.
Now for the first time, the Ray bullpen is up and going.
Adam Eaton gives it a ride. Right center field. Montauk is there. Sox will take the 3. Leury Garcia staying hydrated. 8-2 Sox. Hashtag SoxMath on Twitter. Today's date in September, minus the number of years ago today, the Sox clinched the AL West against the M's. Multiply the number of major pro sports played by the Sox player who hit the game-winning home run that day, and then add the number of Sox managers who played in that game. Sox managers all time who were in that game X number of years ago today, as Curt Casali hits a long ball left center field, and Casali gives the Rays another run. He's 2 for 2 with 2 extra base hits.
8th home run. He's now driven in 22. He was a designated hitter last night, had a base hit and a run batted in, and this time he gets one out over the plate. And despite the cooler temperatures, the ball is flying tonight.
For Curt Casali, that's his 18th major league home run. Frazier at third. And 1 out. Well, we mentioned the Rays can hit the long ball. And we've seen it now tonight with Casali. Tampa now 214 home runs this year. That's 5th most in Major League history for a 90-plus loss team. The 2000 Astros lead the charge there with 249 home runs that year. As this ball is ticketed for the alleyway past Garcia. And Schaefer's on his way to second base with a one-out double.
He's 2 for 2. Came in hitting 167, but found a place for this one to land safely. A diving Leury comes up a touch short on the dive.
So 8 hits now in the year for Schaefer as Sale faces Karakuto. And strike one. As far as more than 90 loss teams, the Rangers take the cake there. The 2003 Texas Rangers, Buck Showalter's team, was 71-91. They had 5 guys with 20 or more home runs, including 47 from Alex Rodriguez, 29 from Hank Blaylock, and 38 from Rafael Palmeiro late in his career.
That's a nice ballpark to hit home runs.
See how long that park lasts.
Yeah, Tampa Bay does not have a good ballpark to hit home runs.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Sale's third strikeout is the second out of the inning. Hey, Sox fans, you win with Papa John's Pizza the day after the Sox win. You get 50% off your entire online order of regular menu priced items only at papajohns.com when you use promo code SOXWIN. At participating Papa John's locations, better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. 2 down for Forsythe, who has accounted for 2 of the 3 strikeouts tonight for Sale.
He's one of their better hitters, but Chris has had no problems with him.
Strikeout looking in the first, strikeout swinging in the second. And 2/3 of the way there in the fourth.
In one of the latest trades you'll ever see, the Giants got Gordon Beckham from the Braves because Eduardo Nunez has had a hamstring problem, so they get a middle infielder without too many games to go.
To third, Frazier to win the inning. Rays get a run on the Casale homer. The Sox have a lead of a nickel. It's 8-3.
The home ERA leaders in the American League. The Astros lead the way with our Sox second. The Rays right there at third, followed by the Orioles and the Mariners. And Jose Quintana at 276, third in the American League at home ERA. So we've got a new pitcher coming in the ball game. And it is Stephen Geltz on for the 27th time. He's 0-2. The ERA up close to 6. There you look at the numbers. Right-handers, surprisingly, have really hurt him. Left-handers, just 178 against him.
So 3 innings for Alex Cobb, and they did not go as planned. The Sox have 8 runs off 8 hits and a 5-run lead.
Geltz originally signed with the Angels as an undrafted free agent in 2008 out of the University of Buffalo.
Oh, don't let them hear you say that.
University of Buffalo?
They are very particular.
What do they want to call it?
They're very
University of Hawaii?
To the point. I mean, it is one of the most important. They call it the University at Buffalo.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Todd Frazier. Bring enough for all of us, please. It is amazing how particular they are about that. Whenever you write it of Buffalo, they have people.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'll give them your address.
Please do. I want to be careful with that. Ball and 2 strikes on Anderson. How about Todd Frazier? Yeah. Get a couple ground ball outs, then go have a cookie. There's strike 3. Anderson goes down looking. Here's your Sox math answer. Sox, today's date in September the 27th, clinched the AL West 23 years ago. So the answer 4 at that point. Bo Jackson hit the game-winning home run. 2 major pro sports for Bo, unless you include the Pro Stars cartoon in which he played hockey at some point. Sox managers played in that game Ozzie Guillen and Robin Ventura. 2. The answer is 10. Dennis Garman, who will lead you to Roland Garros turn by turn, is your winner. "23 years ago, Sox won the American League West, ended up losing in the American League Championship Series against that very strong Blue Jays club, part of Cito Gaston's mini dynasty.
That was a really good team.
I mean, they already had Devon White with his speed and Robbie Alomar. Then you add Ricky Henderson into that mix, plus the power of Joe Carter and Olerud. Yikes.
And it's pretty good pitching to go with it. That was put together by Pat Gillick, one of the great baseball executives of all time.
Oh, and 2 on Melky, who goes down swinging. A rare strikeout for Melky Cabrera this season. 2 down for Jose Abreu. Sox got 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third.
And so far, Geltz has come in to stem the tie.
2 strikeouts in a row for Geltz. Nary a 1-2-3 innings so far for the Rays. Fewest batters to the plate for the Sox in the first 3 innings was 6.
It's kind of an unusual defensive shift. Most teams do not shift 3 on the left side of the infield for Jose Abreu, who quite easily can take the ball through the right side.
especially when the 3 pitches have been more outside than inside. We've heard pitchers this year talk about how difficult it is to pitch with the shift on. Sometimes you have to shift the way you're going to pitch a hitter because of the shift.
I think it kind of defeats the purpose, but pitchers will tell you that all things being equal, they're going to go to their strength before they go to the hitter's weakness. Sometimes the hitter's weakness is the same weakness the pitcher has, and then you don't have the same advantage you normally have.
Hard on the ground and a big bounce to Longoria for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning for Geltz out of the Tampa pen, and it's an 8-3 Sox lead. To the 5th we go.
Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Indians, first division title since 2007, the 8th AL Central title. 46-24 against division rivals. They've killed the Tigers at 14 of 16. Corey Kluber took an MRI. The results not determined at this point. If they lose him, they will have lost their top 3 starters.
The results are rather determined in tonight's game between the Tigers and the Indians. It's 9-0 Detroit in the bottom of the 7th at Comerica Park.
I would say that clinching last night probably has a little something to do with this today.
That ball hit Dickerson. So Corey Dickerson, who caught one on the kneecap or thereabouts last night, gets hit again tonight.
That one just barely got the uniform. If you're going to get hit, this is probably the best way to do it.
So Dickerson on Longoria to bat. If the results stay tonight as they stand right now, it would be the Tigers winning against Cleveland and the Blue Jays beating the Orioles. It's 5-1 Jays over Baltimore in the bottom of the 8th. So the Orioles have one more at bat at Rogers Center, and if that were to hold, the Tigers would be only a game back in the American League wildcard race. And the Blue Jays would have then created some separation. It would be a 2-game spread between the Jays and the Orioles with a couple more remaining in their series. High in the air right field for Adam Eaton. And one away. Told you about the wild card standings. And Toronto is the lead dog right now. The Yankees and Royals are out of it. The Astros likely are too, with their extra inning loss last night to the Mariners. That game in progress. It's 4-2 Seattle, bottom of the fifth, so don't sleep on Seattle still.
No, they can run a couple of pitchers out there that can completely shut you down. Not to mention, they got some power.
First pitch, a strike in there to the left-hander Miller. So Seattle will finish up with the Astros, then a home series against Oakland. That's a favorable schedule.
Yes, it is.
The Blue Jays end with the Red Sox, so that certainly isn't the nicest close to the year, as that breaking ball confounds Miller. 0-2. I believe it's the Tigers ending in Atlanta.
That'd be a good way to finish it off if you're looking for a wild card berth.
And the Orioles finish with the Yankees. Yeah, it's Tigers at Atlanta to close the year. That's strike three, and just a masterful 3 pitches to Miller for out number 2 from Sale.
I'm not sure exactly what Miller was looking for, because he got a fastball right down the middle. And you can't really, if you're a left-hander, look for a slider because you're not going to be able to do much with it. That one had most of the plate, and Miller down looking.
It was 2 breaking balls, then the fastball, and Miller was in his own head.
Yeah. Don't look for the slider.
That's the hitter equivalent of be careful what you wish for. Montook to third and past Frazier.
That one took a really high hop. Montook gets his second hit of the night and keeps the inning alive. This ball actually picked up some spin right over the glove of Todd Frazier. Look at this hop. So it does keep the inning alive. For a man who's had a really hot night.
That's Curt Casali, who doubled to left and scored in the second. Then homered to left center field in the fourth. 2 runs scored of the Rays, 3 so far. Ball 1 to Casali.
Pitch number 76 on the way.
What do you think the maximum is? This being either the last start or the second to last start for Chris Sale this year. What do you think the max he would go is?
I think the max is when they talk to him, how you feeling. I mean, if he's feeling okay, could easily get to 110 to 115 pitches. If he's fatigued at all, then Don Cooper and Robin Ventura want to know that too.
Slider outside, 2-1 on Casali. Even for a guy who would likely never tell you that he's gassed.
Yes, I think they would show him the respect to say, how far can you go in this one?
Did you ever tell a manager,
Yes.
I'm done?
Yes.
You did. Most
Yeah.
pitchers won't do that, right?
Well, I think with the greater good being a win for the team, then it works out. I'll explain it to you if we wend our way through this one about just what happened between Hall of Fame manager Earl Weaver and me.
Breaking ball, strike 3, and a beautiful pitch that curled over the inside corner. Sale strikes out Casali. Update, the Sox lead it here 8-3, and the Rays have dipped into the bullpen again.
Chase Whitley comes into this for the 4th time. He's given up nothing.
Former 15th round pick, one of 2 major leaguers from the 2010 15th round. The other pitcher, Mike Bolsinger. As ball 1 comes into Morneau.
Attended Troy University.
Down Bama way.
Yes, 3-sport star in high school.
How many sports star would they have called you if they had bios in bound media guides when you pitched?
Half a sport.
You don't get tennis, at least, to your credit?
Yeah, but I never played it in high school for the team because the tennis season was the same time as baseball season.
Well, you could have just said recreational. You're a very good tennis player. People do that in bios.
Yeah.
That ball smoked to center. Justin Morneau with a leadoff 5th inning single. White Sox fans, celebrate your culture with Hispanic Heritage Night, September 30th, presented by Miller Lite. Latin music and dancing, special activities for kids, an on-field parade, a post-game fireworks show. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Miller Lite, official beer of your Chicago White Sox. Tickets start as low as $10 to purchase. Visit whitesox.com/NHH. Todd Frazier, post cookie on the bench.
Trying to give himself a little energy. He's 0 for 2 tonight. We'll see how the Todd Frazier with a little sugar in his system works. Always time for cookies, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Why'd you bypass the dessert in the booth then? You didn't have a. There were cookies here for you.
Yeah,
you didn't
but
eat them.
Pre-game, you know, you're trying to psych yourself up. Don't want to peak too early.
It's become very clear to our viewers tonight. 1-2 on Frazier with Morneau at first. It's low 2-2. Steve Geltz, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. He's given it to Whitley now, who's also coming off Tommy John surgery. Alex Cobb, the starter, was in that boat. We're starting to hear about Tommy John surgery as a possible preventative measure, essentially, in baseball.
Well, depending on if there's some fraying around the elbow, that's something that you can examine, because coming back from at least your first Tommy John, your elbow's going to come back stronger with the surgical techniques they have today.
Inside, 3-2 on Frazier. Tell you what, Dr. James Andrews has made a very nice living for himself.
Yeah, there's some specialists all over, but Andrews was one of the guys that everybody sought and still does for a second opinion.
Frazier down the left field line, bidding for number 40, and it's foul.
Whitley tried to get that ball inside, couldn't quite get it there.
Three and 2. Frazier out in front.
Pretty good breaking ball out away, and Todd in full protection mode, able to spoil it.
For those uninitiated, Tommy John surgery, why would the elbow come back stronger?
Well, because you're tightening things up, and as you pitch, that transplant area starts, like I say, sometimes you tear fibers, and what happens when you tear fibers, the thing that makes a bone heal is it creates new bone. When that happens in the elbow area, it comes back ridged, and so the tendon that rolls over many times gets frayed, and you might have some ligament damage. And so they're getting to the point now where you're talking about 14 months and coming back with a much stronger elbow than when you left. It shouldn't affect the shoulder at all, especially if you rehab correctly, and most of the guys do at this point. That's why a lot of teams will actually draft guys who have had recent Tommy John surgeries, knowing that the elbow is going to come back stronger.
3-2. That ball's crushed down the left field side by Frazier on pitch number 11. And Justin Morneau's into third. Frazier a double.
A battling at bat. And Todd wins the battle on a pitch low and away. He just reaches out. He'd had good coverage this entire at bat, and this time keeps it between the lines.
So 60 extra base hits for Frazier this year. And here is Alex Avila. Infield in for the Rays at 8-3, nobody out in the 5th inning. Tampa has lost now 6 of 7 coming into this series, with the loss yesterday 7 of 8. 2-0 on Alex. Talked about it briefly earlier. First 10 seasons for the Rays. They were the Devil Rays during those first 10 seasons, all 90+ loss years. And suddenly the playoff surge. That's outside. 3-0. Whitley, who only started 4 games last year for the Yankees. This is his 4th game of this season off of the UCL repair. 3-0, not close.
And Hickey comes out. He wants a word with Whitley. Jim Hickey's been a good pitching coach for a long time.
Talking about the Rays in the playoffs, it was the 2008 year they lost in the World Series. That was Joe Maddon's 3rd year. They lost 101 and 96 the 2 years prior. Then 4 playoff appearances in 6 seasons leading up to the last 3 years of 82, 85, and now 91 losses. Sanchez doubled and scored last time as the infield backs off behind Whitley, who misses again.
Louis Garcia in the on-deck circle, and Leori needs a single and a double. He hit for the cycle. He already has the toughest 2, the triple in the 2nd, 3-run homer in the 3rd.
Two 2-0 on Sanchez. How about that first grand slam?
The way he's been hitting it, he's been swinging it well from both sides of the plate.
Fouled away. 2-1 on Sanchez. 24-year-old second baseman for the Sox today. Bounce around the infield. Has been up and back as much as anybody in a Sox jersey this year. First base side, Miller is up with it, and he throws it wide. of home plate. One is in. Here comes Frazier. 10-3, the Sox.
Brad Miller, a converted middle infielder, making that throw. He's got him if the throw is good. It was not. And on the throw, 2 runs scored. Sanchez will reach on a fielder's choice, then E3. Does a nice job here. But that job, not good.
So it's a fielder's choice E3. No RBI for Sanchez. And Leury Garcia tests Miller again. This time he stops the bag right near him for out number 1. Avila holds at third, Sanchez at second.
Adam Eaton with a chance to add to his big night.
In the air, Dickerson and left. Avila won't tag. You know, with all these runs scoring, I don't know that Melky is the slam dunk pick-to-click winner anymore.
He needs to add to that.
So you're conceding that.
Well, he needs some. Yeah, he needs to follow it up. 2-run homer in the first, robbed in the second. A blistering line drive. That should count for something.
It's unbecoming, the begging. 2 out for Anderson. Avila at third, Sanchez at second. Sox have a couple runs in on the error. And strike 1 to Tim. You're saying why no RBI for Sanchez if he reached on a fielder's choice? The answer is that had the throw been accurate to home, there would have been no run scoring.
They would have had him.
Right at shortstop, it knocks Ramirez down. And a round of applause from his faithful remaining in Chicago. 10-3 Sox. regular season home game as the Sox face the Twins Sunday, October 2nd at 2:10 p.m. for Fan Appreciation Day. Hundreds of prizes will be given away throughout the game. For tickets, visit whitesox.com. If we knew it would be safe, we would throw items from the prize shelf down from our booth.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a great idea.
I don't think that little miniature truck would make it to an adoring fan.
Yeah, briefly.
What if we sent down a first aid kit as well?
Right down after it for sure.
It's our prize shelf airdrop coming up October 2nd.
And how often do you see a guy get knocked down by a line drive only to lead off the next inning?
Once today at the very least.
Yeah, he was kind of bailing to begin with and then got knocked over by a line drive. And here he is back hitting again.
Live to tell the tale.
Tremendously resilient.
We'll welcome all our viewers watching on East Buchanan Telephone Co-op in Winthrop, Iowa.
Looks like Coop to me.
He's on the bench watching his pitcher. Ground ball to second. Sanchez for out number 1. By the way, today back in 1990, in this ballpark, Frank Thomas hit his very first home run in this ballpark. It was against Tom Edens of the Milwaukee Brewers, one of 263 home runs. So according to Chris Kamka's tweet earlier, strike 1.
Joe Grube to your left.
It's his first home run, I should say.
Joe Grube to your left is a man who has been here since the Civil War. So
yeah, it was his first home run at Comiskey Park. Second one came the very next day against Randy Johnson.
He went on to hit a few more.
One at 2. And down goes Schaefer, 2 away.
That ends his perfect night. He had a single and a double. Now we can add a strikeout to that on a good hard slider.
So 2 home runs at Old Comiskey for Frank Thomas. And then the total of 263 here. Two down, 6th inning. A ball and a strike on Karakuto. Two and 1. That is foul down the right field line. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think Chris tonight is getting the feeling with those 10 runs, giving him a little breathing room, like Rick Porcello has had. He's had a wonderful year. Porcello 22-4. But he's been supported unbelievably well by the Boston offense. It's an offense that can support a whole lot of folks because they can really hit up and down that lineup.
There's strike 3. Sale with a 1-2-3 6th. 10-3, the Sox with the lead.
the ice in their preseason opener with the defending champion Pittsburgh Penguins. It all starts at 7:30 on CSN+.
Saw a couple Hawks jerseys here in the ballpark tonight. Substitutions galore for the Tampa Bay Rays. New first baseman, new right fielder. There's Decker in right.
Jeff Decker.
Luke Miley is at first. And that moves Schaefer to third. It's a foul ball, first base side. 0-2 on Melky, who is 1 for 3 with a 2-run homer. There's Schaefer at third.
He started this game in right field. Longoria's night is done.
In the air left field, dangerous, and a sliding play by Schaefer just into third.
Boy, that's a terrific play, because there's no way that anybody could get there except for Schaefer. Over the shoulder catch. Make sure he secures it with his right hand. That's a dandy for a man just brought in from the outfield to play third.
Much different look at the ball.
Yeah, straight over the shoulder is a difficult play to make.
So Abreu takes ball number 1. Sox leading 10-3 tonight. And Abreu with a big rip and a foul ball. That's a strike from Whitley, who had a trying 5th inning. First 4 reached, 1 on an error. Then he got the next 3 to finish off the 5th.
That one bounced a good deal in front of home plate as the infield playing him in that radical shift again. Trying to take away his power. See, there's plenty of room on the right side.
Two. That's swing and a miss for strike 3. 2 down here in the 6th. Sox got 3 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, then 2 more in the 5th. Here's Justin Morneau. By the way, we were talking about Frank Thomas's first Sox home run this day back in '90 at Old Comiskey Park. His first home run in this park came the following April. That was against Ben McDonald.
I saw Ben McDonald the other day.
Did you?
Yep. He was at the ballpark. He is a scout these days.
He's working in television as well.
I tell you, he was one of those guys that you hear about long before he was drafted, at a time when you weren't getting near the material that you get now about the young players, and everybody raving about the arm of Ben McDonald. And unfortunately for Ben, it didn't work out as he would have liked it. But as a college pitcher, he was just outstanding.
There's strike 3. And that'll do it. 1-2-3 inning for Whitley. We'll play the 7th with the Sox, leading by 7. Rays, so we have to ask you about guys named Ray. How'd you do against Ray Sadecki? Steve?
Interesting question.
Uh-huh.
I would say that if I face him at all, it would have to be once,
You think we'd
twice
put,
maybe.
You think we'd put somebody up there you never faced?
Yeah, that could possibly be. He was a pitcher.
Let's see. I bet you did well.
I am waiting with bated breath.
Don't do that for too long. Ball no strikes on Forsythe.
By the way, Justin Verlander won his 16th. Go with just 8 losses. What a bounce back year for him.
He looks like the old Justin Verlander, doesn't he?
3.10 ERA. And for Detroit, if there's still hope, there's a good chance that Verlander can go on Sunday.
To third and Todd Frazier, who's been busy today, and Forsythe 0 for 4.
The Chris Sale pitching line is brought to you by American Sale. He's gone 6 1/3, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, nary a walk with those 7 strikeouts. That's becoming very familiar in his line. 0 or 1 walk to go with a whole lot of strikeouts.
One out, Dickerson takes a strike. That line is still fluid for Chris Sale. Short of 100 pitches. Into left, Melky on rushing, and there's out number 2. Here's your answer to Sticks and Stone. Oh, he got a hit, and he walked.
That was the live ball era, though.
It was.
Yeah, I remember that should have been played. My outfielders were in the wrong position. Infielders not in the right position.
So how many people did you just blame there? You blamed an entire generation of baseball players.
Just my infielders and outfielders.
Okay.
Whenever it was that I faced Ray Sadecki, because I have no recollection of that.
How'd you walk him?
He was a tough hitter. I mean, he was 1 for 1. I had to pitch around him.
All right. They're actually building an annex in Cooperstown just for him. Luke Maile is in the 3 spot now and fouls this ball away. Oh, 2 from Sale. Slider in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just low. 2-2 on Maile. 6 in a row retired by Sale since the Matuk single in the 5th. Sox leading 10-3 tonight. Center field, long run, Garcia. Another 1-2-3 inning for Chris Sale. He's through 7, Sox by 7. Family Sunday of the season, presented by Coca-Cola. Tickets are as low as $5 in the upper level and $15 in the lower level. Special kid-focused activities throughout the ballpark, plus parking available for only $10. Visit whitesox.com/Sundays to purchase your tickets today. Final Family Sunday of the season coming up this weekend. Still some love.
Yeah, Alexei still has some fans who remember his long and meritorious service here.
First pitch, Todd Frazier. It's a strike after his double and run scored in the 5th. Well, you never really forget a place he played, right? Even if it was for a short time.
Well, look, it was when he first got here.
I mean, he was here for a long time.
That first year, he really imprinted himself on the fandom because he looked at this very thin guy playing shortstop, and then he kept hitting the ball out of the park with the bases loaded. That will make you some rabid fans, especially when you're just introduced to him.
Now 35 years old, Alexei Ramirez.
Yeah, that's pretty hard to believe, but true.
Two and two on Frazier. Home run tonight for Melky Cabrera. It's a 2-run shot. 3-run homer for Leury Garcia. Todd Frazier at points. It has been a scuffling season for him. At points, it's been a home run derby.
He's going to wind up with pretty big numbers.
Lasered foul. Two and two. Game 3 tomorrow, 7:10 start time, Sox and Rays. Blake Snell, Miguel Gonzalez. Miguel's ERA sub-4 now at 3.98. And Archer versus Quintana in the finale. Strike 3 to Frazier, sailing over the inside corner, and 3 straight strikeouts for Whitley.
Blake Snell, one of their top prospects. So we'll get a look at him. Not having a great year, not having a bad year. The team is not good. He's 6-8. His ERA 3.65, which is pretty respectable. And he's made 18 starts.
One out for Alex. And a fly ball foul. Rays got 2 in the second and 1 in the 4th. It was a 3-2 game after 1.5. But Chris Sale has smoothed out the street on his side. 3 straight zeros up in the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Strike called. 0-2 on Alex Avila. Well, that very important left hand for Chris Sale.
This is most likely going to tie him with his career high in wins.
Whitley strikes out his 4th straight. 2 down in the 7th.
Well, the MRI results are back with Corey Kluber. He has a mild quadriceps strain. The question will be, will he be ready to go when the Indians are ready to go?
That's much better news than the Nationals got on Wilson Ramos today.
Yeah, that's a terrible blow to the Nationals, because it looks like Strasburg is not going to be available at least for the first series. Now they lost their catcher to go with it.
So it's going to be Pedro Severino and Jose Lobaton taking that pitching staff into the postseason for Dusty Baker. Former Tampa Bay Ray himself, Jose Lobaton. Two and one.
Dana Eblin, who's been around a long time, loosening up in the pen.
Wrapped his second. Kikuchi for out number 3. 7 deep, 10-3 Sox. Chris Sale, your move. Like the pros, Sunday, October 2nd from 5 to 8 p.m. Join the Bulls Sox Academy at their annual on-field Fun Fest. Take live batting practice, warm up in the bullpen, and much more. Visit bullsoxacademy.com for more information.
And we got a new pitcher coming in the ball game, and it is Chris Beck. So Chris Sale is done for the evening. And there's a look at Chris Beck on for the 23rd time. He's 2-2, his ERA 7.25. And for Chris Sale, he went 7, gave up 3 runs on 8 hits, didn't walk anybody, and fanned 7. And he is the pitcher of record, looking for win number 17 with 6 more outs.
Jeff Decker is the first hitter Beck will face. Decker was 3 for 4 last night, his first career 3-hit game. And ball 1. How about the season for Chris Sale?
I thought it was terrific when you consider a lot like Jose Quintana, didn't get a lot of runs at times. For him, the 10 runs is something he hasn't seen too often. Not too many of the Sox pitchers have. Chris had a very good year. You pretty much come to expect it from him each and every year, and he doesn't disappoint you.
5 straight All-Star teams for Chris Sale. 2-1 on Decker. And we told you off the top, I mean, you look at the guys that he's in company with over the last 5 years, one of the top 4 or 5 best pitchers in baseball, if not above that.
I don't think he's a joy to face. You're not going to find too many hitters tell you, boy, I really want to get out there and face Chris Sale.
3-1. Left field, Melky, yes sir. 1 down.
Nice play by Melky. You got a good jump on that line drive that was slicing away from him. So Decker retired by Melky.
Melky's eyes got wide, looked almost surprised the ball was in his glove.
Well, he was positioning him in the right spot.
One down for Mikey Matuk. And there's ball 1. Sox trying to get to 10 over at home this year. 43-33 with 5 more outs tonight. Ball and a strike on Matuk. One and 2 from Beck. Sox bullpen last night. Canely, Jennings, Jones, Minaya for 3 innings.
And the Sox pen up and going again.
Up the middle, over the bag. Sanchez, quick motion for out number 2.
Big break there was it didn't hit the bag because it very well could have. And Carlos drifting up the middle. He's lined up pretty much that way, and this ball right over the bag. The quick hands at second base, and he's able to make the play.
Two down for Curt Casali. The wild card race in the National League, the Mets are leading the Marlins 12-1 tonight after the heroics of yesterday in D. Gordon in an extremely emotional game. Giants are leading the Rockies 1-0 already in the home first down in San Francisco. And those are the 2 wild card leaders. The Cardinals came in a game back, and they're leading the Reds 8-5 in the 6th.
Reds have given the Cardinals all they can handle. They haven't played too many teams all that well, but for the Cardinals, it's not a good time to have trouble with Cincinnati.
How long do you think landline phones last in baseball?
Seemingly forever.
You think we'd never go away from them?
Well, you could try shouting, but it's kind of a long way out there.
It sure is. The lozenge market would really heat up. Frazier, that's a 1-2-3 inning. In fact, 10 in a row retired by Sox pitching. Beck and Sale, the Chris's, have a 7-run lead in the 8th. 3, the Sox. Game 2 of this series. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Thanks for stopping by. And Leury Garcia ready to go. First pitch is in there, a strike. Chase Whitley has been a busy man.
Done a nice job. Cobb only went 3. He had a tough game. 8 runs on 8 hits. Geltz with a pretty good inning. And just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And here's our Miller moment, and it came off the bat of Leury Garcia. A towering home run in the 3rd inning, a 3-run shot. His first of the year. That is our Miller moment.
Home run number 2 of his career for Garcia. And a half-hearted bid for strike 3 there. A late choice.
Yeah, he figured it was close enough, so might as well take a hack at it, but no contact.
Strikeout number 5 to the last 6 batters for Chase Whitley. And Adam Eaton, the hitter. He is 2 for 4. A couple of runs scored, stolen base, a double, and RBI. And strike 1. Maley at first for out number 2, and Whitley has started to coast for the Rays.
11 straight retired. Pretty nice job.
After, by the way, the first 4 reached against him. The one on an error that was not of his fault. It was a ground ball to first. Miller threw home, and errantly 2 runs came across, gave the Sox their 9th and 10th. Tim Anderson may have number 11. That is out of
here. That's 3 driven in tonight by Tim Anderson, who will fall a triple shy of the cycle. This a no-doubter, a high fastball middle in, and he puts a charge into it and takes it way back. Forward home run replay. A low 5. And a big night for Tim Anderson.
3 hits, 2 runs scored, and this base hit from Melky Cabrera.
Well, that and this spectacular defense ought to about lock it up tonight.
You actually qualify as pitiful at this point. Your picks to click groveling is unwelcome here.
It's getting late in the year. So that's going to be it for Whitley. He's going to depart this one.
You know what, Steve? You know what we haven't seen much of this year? A pitching change with 2 out in the 8th inning and an 8-run lead. See something new every day.
Hyundai called to the pen is Dana Evelyn. He's on for the 33rd time. The ERA way up there. Left-handers have hit him to a 361 clip. Not exactly a situational left-hander.
Career ERA for Evelyn, 5.45 over the course of 186 Major League games. 61 starts. He's finished 31 games. He's saved 2. This is not a save situation.
Saving the bullpen.
It's a rescue situation. Ball 1 to Abreu. So 3 2/3 from Whitley. Runs yet to be decided with Cabrera his property at first. Dana Evelyn, Milwaukee, Arizona, Oakland, Toronto, Pittsburgh, the Dodgers, the Orioles, the Mets, the Braves, and the Rays.
Which shows you one thing.
What's that, Steve?
Besides a lot of travel vouchers, if you can throw left-handed and get the ball over the plate and stay somewhat healthy, you will get a job. And he's had a few of them.
Ten teams since 2005. He didn't pitch in the majors in 2013. 10 teams for Dana Evelyn.
Yep.
Did have a 118 strikeout year with the A's. He was in the starting rotation for Oakland in 2008. 3-2 on Abreu.
So J.B. Shuck, who came on to pinch run, retreats back to the bag.
And he will have to retreat again. Three balls and 2 strikes. It remains as Abreu sends a torpedo into his home. Into that third base dugout.
And apparently everybody's okay.
Gonzalez, Quintana, Garcia unscathed. Everything low so far to Jose. 3-2. Ball 4.
Jason Coates comes on to pinch hit.
Justin Morneau finishes the night 1 for 3, a run scored, a walk, and a strikeout. Pitch is very close, but the catch did not allow for the strike reading.
No, it's kind of hard for Mike Esterbrook to call that one.
Off of Evelyn into center field. Shuck scores. One more for the road, 12-3.
Evelyn almost able to flag it down, but can't quite get the job done. Another run charge to Whitley.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, no chance on that one.
Ooh, Karakuto couldn't get there. Strike in the inside corner to Frazier.
Well, at least you didn't use your Mustang Casale tonight.
Ah, the wonder of a 4-game series, Steve. 2 strikes on Frazier. So 4 runs, 2 earned, charge to Chase Whitley, who threw well tonight.
I thought he did.
It's outside. Casale possibly trying to make up for that wacky catch earlier in the inning. It's not an easy job, catcher, when the ball ends up in a spot that you didn't expect.
Especially when you're looking up at the board and see 12 on the other side.
Into right field, falling quickly. Another run. It's 13-3. Abreu touches home. Frazier drives him there.
97 runs driven in by Todd Frazier as he has his second hit of the night. Breaking ball that didn't do a whole lot, and Todd able to take it to right field.
So here's Alex Avila, who's walked twice, scored once, struck out once, and grounded out. 10-run lead for the Sox. 2 hits against Dana Evelyn, along with a walk. And a single before that and a home run. That's the last 5 batters in the inning. Ball and a strike on Avila. Breaking ball had some life to it. 1-2. Cardinals have taken a 12-5 lead on Cincinnati tonight. Giants still up 1-0 in the National League wild card hunt. 1-0 on the Rockies in the 3rd. Meantime, the Mets have already won 12-1. So the Mets are now 10 over, 84 and 74. Wild card leaders in the National League. Just outside, 3-2. Question is, who will remain to pitch for the Mets? If the playoffs are in their future, we shall see.
Well, they've got Syndergaard. They have
Gesellman.
Bartolo Colon.
In the air, left field, hooking toward the line, and this is foul. Todd Frazier had the most leisurely lead off of first as that pitch came. He was just kind of wandering between first and second. We need to get you one of those hats. Is that Rudolph?
That's going to be a promotion for next year.
Rudolph hats?
They come in pretty handy in April.
We have our just off the set of Fargo hats that we can wear. They're still in style. 3-2. We'll do it again.
Todd Frazier going to have to retreat to first again.
It's all in the name of a win. Todd will take it. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch number 8 of the at-bat for Alex Avila is low. Ball 4, third walk for Alex tonight. And the bases are loaded for Carlos Sanchez. And cue the Macarena.
Another chance. Bases full of White Sox.
A Ravens fan. Did you ever learn the Macarena?
No,
You didn't?
it was before my time.
I think it was well after your time. Bases loaded, Sanchez. And ball 1.
Now, there doesn't appear to be anybody in the bullpen that Kevin Cash would like to bring into this one, so it's Evelyn against the world.
High in the air. Karakuto across his body for out number 3. 6 straight reached for the Sox. 3 in the inning. Matt Albers coming with a 10-run lead. TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 supported devices and enjoy a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv. And here's JB.tv in left.
Takes over in left. Pinch ran for Melky. And Matt Albers comes on for the 58th time. ERA up over 6. He'll face the bottom part of the order.
Starting with Alexei Ramirez, who drove in 2 in the 2nd inning. His first hit in this ballpark as an opposing player. Sox have led for the great majority of this series, with Tampa only tying the game last night, 1-1 in the 4th. Seven innings from Chris Sale tonight, 8 hits, 3 earned runs. He struck out 7 and no walks.
That one bounced right over the Sox dugout.
Ball and 2 strikes on Ramirez. Off the plate, 2-2. I mean, Matt Albers, his first month of the season is one of the best first months you'll see from anybody in the bullpen. And then after that, took a turn this year for Albers.
It did that. Fastball seemed to straighten out.
Although, that moment in New York is one that we'll not forget for a long, long
he'll
time.
Remember that one always because it helped win a ball game. Getting it at bat, a double to left center field.
Two. Just missed. 3-2. By the way, it was dicey for a moment, but the Cubs have finished off the Pirates tonight 6-4. Pirates scored 3 in the 9th and left the bases loaded this evening. Scorched again. Look out, everybody.
I think that one got somebody down there. Just past the camera well.
Three balls, 2 strikes. On the ground, Tim Anderson. That's an error against Anderson. So here's Schaefer, who has 2 hits today, both off of Sale, a single to left and a double to center. There goes Ramirez, and he'll have to return to first. Defensive indifference is really the only scoring decision in any sport that imputes any level of emotion into the opposing team.
Which emotion would that be?
Indifference. Ambivalence. Ball's crushed down the left field line. That is a very invested ball to left field. Second and third, nobody out. 9th inning.
That was a rocket, the 3rd hit of the night for Schaefer. He opens up early on everything, and so pretty much inside is his wheelhouse.
So Schaefer with his second 3-hit game of his career. First one came against the Mets last August. Second and third, nobody out. Ball's clobbered left center field and ticketed for the alleyway. Karakuto drives in a pair, and he's on his way to third.
Well, Leary had some problems locating that one.
It's the first major league hit for Karakuto, and it's a triple.
Turns around a hit from the left side, and he crushes this ball. Took a bad kick, then Leary having some trouble picking it up.
He was 0 for 7 with 5 strikeouts before that triple. Yuniel Karakuto as Albers soars for out number 1.
He got up there.
One down for Dickerson. 13-5 in game 2 of this series. Sox trying to pick up win number 76. 500 still a possibility with wins in every game.
Tampa Bay here for a couple more. And then the Minnesota Twins over the weekend to finish it off.
Twins have joined the 100 loss club in recent days.
It's a tough year.
What do they hand out?
Usually they hand out, depending on how bad you're doing, the #1 draft pick.
Yeah, it looks like the Twins are going to be there.
56 wins.
First base side, Abreu. Albers out. It's close play.
Looked to me with the naked eye like he beat it, but we'll have to see.
Dickerson standing at first. He thinks he was safe.
They're going to challenge it. We'll take a look and slow it down for you.
You got to call him safe, don't you?
Looked to me like he was safe with real time.
Well, this review gives us an opportunity to ask Steve Stone what his top 5 songs to listen to prior to a baseball game.
Prior to a baseball game?
Top 5 pregame warm-up songs. Quickly. We've got a replay going on. We can't let it bleed past the replay. Go ahead.
As you know, We Built This City, one of the great songs ever written. It's right up there. Cornucopia of Bon Jovi hits.
Uh-huh. Here comes the answer. Safe.
Riverdance. Love Riverdance.
That's where the odds makers really
that's
get
really
beat
nice.
around.
Blue and Black.
Uh-huh.
Country.
That's on loop. It's an RBI for Dickerson. And the Rays still have one out. I'm reminded, by the way, by the Twitter folks that Frank Thomas's first major league hit was a triple as well at Milwaukee on August the 3rd back in 1990. And defensive indifference gets Dickerson to second base. There's a strike. 1-1. 13-6. A 3-run inning that started with an error, then a double and a triple. A ground ball out and a single. One and two.
Jacob Turner throwing in the pen.
That stays around the plate. To Luke Maley out of the University of Kentucky back in 2012. Two balls, two strikes. Dickerson at second. That is out number 2.
It's out number 2.
Oh, giddy up there. Here's Decker.
He's got out number 3 written all over him.
Does he?
Yep.
Must be that invisible ink. Ball 1. Dickerson at second. Two and 0. Strike zone, as the game has progressed, has gotten more favorable for hitters. There's a strike. 2 and 1.
Right on top of the second pitch.
Sox have a home run from Tim Anderson, Leury Garcia, Melky Cabrera tonight. In a 13-6 lead. That will end that way. Sox win by 7 in Game 2 of the series. Well pitched game again by Chris Sale.
Yeah, I thought Chris was terrific tonight. 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, no walks, 8 hits, the 3 runs given up. He gave them up relatively early in the game, then got pretty tough as the game moved along. So Chris wins his 17th, tying a career high and well deserved.
In a season that's been uneven record-wise, you start 23-10, you fade toward 500, and then have a rough spell right around the All-Star break. Chris Sale has been, for the most part, terribly consistent.
I think Chris Sale tonight had some problems early and then all of a sudden figured out exactly what he was not doing early and went to correct it, as the great pitchers do. The fact that he didn't walk anybody, that's becoming a recurring theme for him. And when you look at his walk to strikeout ratio over the course of this season, it's spectacular. So he's got great stuff and very good control to go with it.
Even at the times when Sale was not his superhuman self this year, he still was keeping the team in the ball game. I mean, maybe it wasn't one starter stuff, first starter stuff, or ace type stuff at every point, but he was giving the Sox the innings and providing that day when they feel like they could be in the game.
And a couple of starts ago, he actually went 6 consecutive starts with 8 or more innings, and that usually keeps you out of the pen. You need a bullpen saver. Jose Quintana's one of those. Chris Sale's another one of those. And we'll see what happens if Chris wants to go out one more time looking for 18, because he can, I'm sure, if he wants to, pitch on Sunday, but that will be up to him most likely.
Yeah, it would be his day on Sunday. Sox offensively put up the big number tonight, and part of that was Leury Garcia. He's downstairs with Sierra.
All right, Lori, you had the triple and then the 3-run home run. The first of the season, the second home run of your career. Put into words how that felt.
I feel good. I feel great. That's happened. Just waiting for the moment to be in the lineup and do the work and do. So tonight was a great night for me.
And talking about being in the lineup, when you get the call up in September, what do you have to do to prove yourself as a member of this team and show what you got for the upcoming season?
Just, keep working hard every day and do the best I can for the team. Try to get wins, just win the game, and just keep playing hard. I think that's the key.
13 runs tonight on the scoreboard. You guys got any left for the rest of the series?
Yeah, we're going to be tomorrow again.
All right. Thank you so much, Lori, and congratulations on the second home run of your career. Guys, let's go back up to you in the booth.
Can we make these cordless, by the way?
You
Can we get rid of this cord?
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
It's like it's the worst part of the whole gig. 13-6 final score. Sox are winners thanks to Sierra and Leury Garcia. We'll wrap it up coming up after this from U.S. Cellular Field. Sox by 7.